This is the respiratory system assignment by Josh, Tommy and Ryan. The structure. The respiratory system consists of the nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi and the lungs. The purpose of the system is to provide all of the cells around the body with oxygen and to remove carbon dioxide. Air comes in the nose, then to the nasal cavity, passes through the pharynx, then to the trachea and larynx. It then goes to the lungs. The diagram coming up will show the different parts of the respiratory system. Here you can see the mouth, the trachea, the nasal cavity, the pharynx, the larynx, the bronchi and the lungs. This is the nasal cavity. The nose is one part of the respiratory system and is the only external part of the system. The structure of the nasal cavity is subdivided into two sections, the internal and external. When breathing, the air enters the cavity via the nostrils. Once air enters the hairs of the nasal cavity, filter the air, removing any dust or pollen. The remainder of the nasal cavity is lined with mucous membrane and antibacterial enzymes. This is a piece of cartilage at the entrance of the larynx which covers the opening of the airways. This helps prevent food entering the trachea when swallowing. This is called the epiglottis. Following the epiglottis, the pharynx. This connects the nasal cavity and the mouth to the larynx and the esophagus. The pharynx is also known as the throat and has a small tube that measures approximately 10 to 13 centimeters. It is located from the base of the skull to the level of the 6th cervical vertebrae, the wall of the pharynx. The larynx is also known as the voice box, which extends for about 5 centimeters from the level of the 3rd to the 6th vertebrae. It is made up of cartilage and is located between the pharynx and the trachea. It has three functions, which are to provide an open airway, to act as a switching mechanism to guide air and food down the correct channels, and to produce noise. Following the larynx, the trachea. This is also known as the windpipe and is around 12 centimeters long and 2 centimeters in diameter. It is very mobile and flexible. The trachea connects the larynx to the bronchi of the lungs, is an integral part of the body airways, and has a vital function of providing airflow to and from the lungs for respiration. Following the trachea is the bronchi and the bronchioles. The bronchi carry air to the lungs and consist of two sides, the left and the right. The right bronchus is wider, shorter, and more vertical when compared to the left. The bronchioles, or once entered the lungs, the bronchus subdivides into lobar bronchi, consisting of 3 on the right and 2 on the left. The lobar bronchi branch into segmental bronchi. Following the bronchi and the bronchioles, the lungs occupy the most of the thoracic cavity and extend down to the diaphragm. The heart is situated left of the lungs, therefore the lungs differ in size and shape. Furthermore, the left lung is more smaller than the right because it shares space on the left side of the chest with the inside of the lungs is the alveoli, and the alveoli are the functional units of the lungs that permit gas exchange between the air in the lungs and the blood in the capillaries of the lungs. Alveoli are found in small clusters called alveoli sacs at the end of the terminal bronchiole. Each alveolus is a hollow cup-shaped cavity surrounded by many tiny capillaries. To support breathing, the diaphragm in the respiratory system is the dome-shaped sheet of muscle that separates the chest from the abdomen. It is also referred to the thoracic diaphragm because it's located in the thoracic cavity or chest. It is attached to spine, ribs and sternum. When we breathe, the diaphragm is drawn downwards until it is flat. As well as the diaphragm, the intercostal muscles are a group of 22 pairs of tiny muscles found between the ribs. These muscles play a vital role in the movement of the chest during breathing. They also help to solidify the thoracic region and protect the lungs. As well as the intercostal and diaphragm, the pectoralis minor also plays a major role. The functions of the respiratory system: transport, respiratory volumes, controls of breathing, and mechanisms of breathing. Transport. Transport consists of the fixed law of diffusion, gases exchange, Dalton's law of partial pressure, and Henry's law. In gaseous exchange, the movement of oxygen into the body and the removal of CO2. Gaseous exchange occurs by diffusion between air in the alveoli and blood in the capillaries of the walls of the alveoli. This diagram shows this. Fixed laws of diffusion is a gas diffuses through a sheet of tissue directly proportional to the tissue area, a diffusion constant and pressure differential of the gas on each side of the membrane and inversely proportional to the tissue thickness. Dalton's law of partial pressure is where the partial pressure of a mixture of gases and the sum of the pressure exerted by each individual gas of the mixture. Additionally, the partial pressure of each gas is directly proportional to the percentage of the gas in the mixture. Henry's law is the last law, and this is where a gas comes into contact with a liquid in that the gas will dissolve into the liquid in proportional to its partial pressure. The higher the concentration of the gas that it's in the gas phase. There are two split parts of mechanics of breathing: inspiration and expiration. Inspiration is the increase of the volume of the thoracic cavity. The diaphragm contracts and flattens, and the intercostal muscles contract or lift the rib cage. This happens because when you're breathing in. Expiration is where it depends on the said factors: elasticity of the lungs, surface tension of the alveoli, and the respiratory muscles relax and retain their original size and length. This causes a decreased thoracic volume and increase in thoracic pressure, which forces our air out of the lungs. Two parts to controlling the breathing: the neural control, which is the breathing that involves neurons, which are cells that conduct nerve impulses in the reticular formation of the medulla and pons, both parts of the brain stem. The dorsal respiratory group and the ventral respiratory group are two areas of the medulla critical in respiration. Chemical control are other factors that control breathing and are continually changing levels of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Sensors responding to such chemical fluctuations are called chemoreceptors. These are found in the medulla, in the aortic arc, and carotid arteries. The average human lungs can hold about 6 liters of air, but only a small amount of this capacity is used during normal breathing. Lung volumes refer to physical differences in volume, while lung capacity represents different combinations of lung volume, usually in relation to respiration and exhalation. Tidal volume means that air goes into the lungs in the same way that it comes out, and under normal conditions, this equates to approximately 500 centimeters cubed of air breathed. Of this inhalation, approximately 350 centimeters cubed reaches the alveoli in the lungs. Inspiratory reserve volume is by breathing in deeply, you can take in more than the usual of air that reaches the alveoli. Expiratory reserve volume can be up to 1,500 centimeters cubed, and there's an amount of additional air that can be breathed out after normal expiration, at the end of a normal breath. Vital capacity is the amount of air that can be forced out of the lungs after maximum respiration. The volume is around 4,800 centimeters cubed. Then residual volume is the amount of air left in the lungs after maximal respiration. And also, total lung capacity is the volume of air contained in the lungs after maximal inspiration, and the volume is usually between 4,000 and 8,000 centimeters cubed, with 6,000 centimeters cubed for an average size male. And all in all, this is the respiratory system.